I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine that somewhere inside you, underneath all the noise, the self-doubt, the roles that you play, the masks that you're wearing, the version of you that shows up for work and for other people and of all the things, there is a light, a frequency, a signal that is completely, entirely unrepeatable in the history of the entire universe. You. It's been there your whole entire life. It never went anywhere. It never dims. It never stops broadcasting. And here's the thing about that signal. Everything that is meant for you is already trying to find it. Right now, as you sit here listening to this podcast today, the people, the opportunities, all of the versions of your life that light you up and you wish were real right now, they are already being pulled toward you like a frequency magnet all of the time. So the question is, why isn't it here yet? And that is what I'm answering for you today. And I promise you, it's not exactly what you think. Because yes, we know why manifestation doesn't work for most people. I covered that in episode 1. But this is actually the secret behind the law of attraction that I feel is the absolute missing key that helps you live your truest, most aligned, most magnetic, glowing life you could ever think of. All right, let's get into it. Okay, let's start here because I think that the entire way most people understand the law of attraction is quite backwards, and it's not their fault. It's exactly how I used to talk about it as well and think about it as well. So it just happens. We have all been told this: to raise your vibration, think positive thoughts, visualize what you want, act as if, and it will come. And there is truth in all of that. That's literally what I spoke about in episode 1. You need to become your future self now. But what I want to remind you, and what we skip sometimes, is that you already have a core vibrational frequency, right? You are literally born with this vibrational frequency, and let's call it your soul, okay? It is the energetic signature of who you actually are at the deepest level. Not what you were born into, who your family is, not what you were told to be, not what you're good at naturally or what job you do or whatever it is. It's literally the real, original, unrepeatable you. Okay, I want you to think of yourself as a lighthouse, okay? A lighthouse doesn't try to attract ships. This is the thing. Yes, the law of attraction is like attracts like, it's a magnet. But wait, let's just use this analogy, okay? So if a lighthouse doesn't try to attract ships, it doesn't try to strategize about which ships to bring in, it doesn't work harder on some nights than others, just shines constantly, very powerfully, and that is everything. That's all it's meant to do. And then everything that's meant to find it just does. You are a lighthouse. You've always been the biggest lighthouse. And here is the law of attraction in its simplest, truest form, is that everything that is aligned with your frequency, your soul's real frequency, is already automatically, by the laws of the universe, doing its absolute utmost to get to you. It is being pulled toward you like a magnet right now, always, all the time. It is not this thing that you need to try and figure out. Automatically, regardless of what you are doing, the universe is conspiring in your favor to pull in everything that is aligned with that light, with that frequency, with that energetic pattern that is so unique to you that no one else has ever had it or ever will have it. I know, mind-blowing. And everything that is not aligned with your true frequency is also doing its absolute utmost to get as far away from you as possible. It cannot help it. Like, that is just how it works. That's the physics of the law of attraction, and that is how energy works. And I think when the things you want aren't actually arriving, it's really disheartening, and all you want to do is search and figure out how you can be more positive, how you can vibrate higher. But it's not because you haven't done the things. You haven't scripted or journaled enough or visualized enough or been grateful enough. Like, it's actually not the problem. The problem typically is that you are just blocking the light. So sometimes you could be doing all the right things to manifest something that was just never actually going to light you up. And I want you to think, and we'll talk more about your higher self in another episode, but your higher self, the universe, is guiding you to your highest good, whether that's to learn a lesson or whether that is to get everything you've always wanted. And when you really think about it, and we've spoken about this a little bit before in the podcast and in my social media, is that time isn't as linear as we think it to be. It is happening all at once. The only thing that exists is the present moment. And so when you're thinking of the vastness and the infinite capabilities and power of the universe, your future self and your past self are in different timelines happening right now. Stay with me. I know it's a bit confusing, but they know what is lighting you up that you currently don't know. Think about in your past how many times you have gone into a situation thinking that that was right for you. And it turned out as you started to unfold and as it started to develop and you started to be in that moment and do that thing, whether that's a new job that you picked, whether that's a partnership or relationship, it could just be like a hobby that you thought that was going to be your next big thing. And as you started doing it, you're like, I don't actually fully like this, but you never would have known if you didn't actually try it in the first place and follow the breadcrumbs. And then did those breadcrumbs lead you to where you are now and living the life that you actually like? Or are you in an era where you're still doing that thing where you're like, okay, I know this doesn't light me up. This used to, but it doesn't anymore. And you're trying to figure it out because there is always something guiding you. Yes, you have free will. Yes, you can choose whatever you want. Like the whole point of this is that we are playing the game of life, right? And the game of life, the whole concept of it, the whole point is to play. It's to play. So you cannot make the wrong decision because you're just here to play. You're just here to give it a go, to have some fun and play the game, whether you're successful at it or not. And what I mean by successful is that you have mastered the idea of playing. That's the only way you can be successful, really, is to just go all in and have fun. And so the problem is that something is blocking the light. There are layers. There are costumes that you're putting on. There is conditioning. There's beliefs that you took on when you were like a child that are not actually yours. There are fears that you have absorbed along your lifetime that are from other people. There are identities that you built to survive situations that you are no longer even in. And all of those things are sitting in front of your lighthouse, dimming the signal, making it harder for what is meant to find you. It's all covering the light. The light is not gone. The light never went anywhere. It's just that there's so much blocking it that it can't get to you. And the work is to peel back the layers that are stopping your light from shining at its full strength because your frequency, your actual soul frequency is already perfect. It's already enough. It's already magnetic. It already has all the answers, every single answer for what you're meant to do. You just have to stop covering it up. Okay, now I want to flip this around because this part of the conversation is the one that genuinely changed everything for me. We've talked about why the things you want aren't reaching you, but what about the things you can't get away from? Because the patterns that keep repeating, or just like the situations that just keep showing up in different ways, and you're just like things that you don't want in your life anymore, whether that's people, whether that's the job that you hate, whether that is just friendships, whether that's things that constantly go wrong, like your car keeps breaking down, bills keep coming in, all the things that you don't want, or the people that just keep triggering you in the same way. Why won't those things leave? And here is the very uncomfortable answer: because you are subconsciously holding on to them. Not consciously, not deliberately, but energetically, you are gripping them so tightly that they cannot go anywhere. Because when you think about it, if something is not aligned with your frequency by the very laws of the universe, it should be moving away from you. It wants to move away from you. It is trying its hardest to leave. But if it's still there, if it's still in your life, if it's still in your reality, it's because something in you is calling it back. Something in you is holding on. And that something is almost always, without a doubt, fear of some kind, or an unhealed belief, or a story you're still running. You're so focused on the thing you don't want. You're so worried about it, so consumed by the thought of it showing up again, that you just keep broadcasting its frequency on loop. You keep holding the door open. Like, it's mind-blowing when you think of this stuff. And you cannot actually release something you are still actively thinking about consistently, still resisting and still fearing. Like, you cannot keep fearing something and expect it not to keep coming up in your life. What you resist persists. What you grip always stays. And what you panic about is always going to keep perpetuating because of the law of attraction. That's what the law of attraction is. That's the secret. You are always pulling into you how you are reacting. And so if the whole point of this is to let go, not to pull more in, because the more you pull in, the more you're just going to be pushing it away until you let go of the things that are covering up your frequency, are covering up your lighthouse. Okay, and here is the real medicine of the whole situation. You actually won't be able to let go of it until, like I said, you shine a light on what it actually is. So this is where shadow work comes in. I'm obsessed with shadow work at the moment. So it's not the surface thing that you think it is always something really deep beneath it. And when I have been attracting the wrong things in my life, I have been blaming the situations. I have been blaming things outside of myself, the algorithm, my job. I've been blaming my lack of money. But lo and behold, it's actually a belief that I realized I was running a program in my head constantly that I'm not worth this amount of money. I couldn't hold this amount of money, or that I need this job because if I lose this job, then I won't have money, or the algorithm isn't pushing my content out because I don't actually feel ready to be seen. I'm second guessing myself. I don't believe in myself. So if I'm second guessing myself and I don't believe in myself, what do you think the algorithm's going to do? It's not going to push out. It's not going to become magnetic, and people aren't going to come and follow me and want to be in my presence if I am amplifying a sense of fear. That's what it is. And this is what I found happened to me, particularly when I left teaching, is that like I knew that I would not find peace there anymore because my soul will not let me settle in a place that's not meant for me. Like, it will make you feel uncomfortable. As soon as you align with what's meant for you and what your soul wants you to do and who you really are, things start to unravel in front of you, and all the things that you have been holding on to, like I said, like my lighthouse started shining for the first time. When I created my Instagram account, and I started to follow my instincts of what actually lights me up, what I feel like if I couldn't fail at, what I would do for a living. And I started to fully embrace that. And I do feel like that's when my lighthouse was just like things started to move out my way. My job became horrible. My environment became difficult to be in because it moved things away. And then I was shining more, which actually gave me more clarity. And then other things came in. Like, that's how it works. And like dealing with the fallout of losing everything in order to gain this new sense of myself, it was very uncomfortable. I did not enjoy it. It was really, really difficult. But that discomfort was not any form of punishment. Like, you have to let things unravel so that they can stop blocking you. And that is your lighthouse working perfectly. That is your soul saying, this is not aligned. Keep going. Something better is for you. And you are feeling uncomfortable because you're in the wrong place. So the real secret to the law of attraction, the thing that nobody is saying, is this. It is not about learning to attract better. It is about learning to let go of what you don't want so you can let in what is already trying to get to you. The attraction is automatic. You are always worthy of everything that you desire. And what you desire is not random. It is a memory from the future trying to come through to you to get you to do it. The magnetism is always already there. You do not need to manufacture it. You just need to get out of your own way. We get in our way so much. It's ridiculous. Okay, now I want to zoom out. I'm like way, way out for a second because I think this next part is going to likely take the pressure off a little bit in a way that might actually fully make you exhale and be like, oh, this actually finally makes sense for me, because that's exactly how I've felt about this. And it is that we are the universe experiencing itself. I've spoken about this a lot. I think most people in the spiritual space have obviously heard of that. But then we sit with it and go, okay, but why are we all so different? And if we're all just the universe playing this beautiful game of life, why do some of us love creating and others love building and others love healing and others love connecting? And why does one person's aligned life look nothing like another's. And here's what I believe. And when I'm talking about your soul, your frequency, your natural beacon light, how it's all different, it's not repeatable. It is the only version of that frequency that will ever be, is we are all different because we are all here for different reasons. We are all different parts of the game to explore, different experiences to have, different things to express through the specific unique instrument of who you are. So the universe wants to experiencing itself in as infinite ways as possible. And it has given you a unique avatar. It's given you a unique blueprint, a map for your life to be able to have fun and explore and grow. I like to think about it like when you play a game and it has different levels, it has different worlds, it has different characters that all play differently. You can't take one character's map and hand it to another character and have it work. That's us. We are all just playing the same game, the game of life, the game of being conscious beings having a human experience, but we are each playing a completely different version of it, which is like, I just want you to sit with that. We are all playing a completely different version of the game, and there is no one way to play. There literally isn't. That's the whole premise of the game. So even if you spend your whole life not up-leveling, not listening to your gut instincts, not figuring it out, not becoming more aligned, and I'm sure you've heard of these people. They obviously don't listen to my podcast, because anyone listening right now would be like someone who's trying to be better and is like on that road to like alignment. But you know those people. You know those people. And even though they've not even tried to play, they're actually playing it. They did it right because they're playing. That's the only point of it. And so the universe doesn't actually grade you. It doesn't actually reward you for doing anything. There is no moment at the end where someone looks at your life and they say, yep, you got it wrong. Yep, or you got it right. No, the only question is, do you want to play intentionally? Do you want to be an active player or a passive player? Do you want to find the parts of the game that light you up, the quests that are actually your quests? Right? The world that was built for your specific character? Or do you want to just wander around just aimlessly and not know what you're doing? Both are completely valid and both are totally fine. But I think, yes, like I said, if you're listening to this podcast, you already know which one you want. You want to play intentionally. You want to find your thing. You want to feel that magnetic pull of a life that is so aligned with who you actually are, that it doesn't feel effortful, that it starts to feel effortless, and you can just live a life that's true to you and have that feeling of abundance. And I know this feeling. I know it because I've lived both sides of it. And like I said before, for years I was a teacher. I was good at it. I genuinely cared about it. I showed up. I gave everything I had to it. But there was this feeling underneath all the time, like I'm just playing a character. Like honestly, genuinely, it felt like I was playing someone else's character. Like I would be like, my imposter syndrome was next level. And it was like I was capable of something and I couldn't even put a name to it yet, but I just felt like almost like I had memories of past lives almost of who I could be. And I had moments where I believed that maybe I was an author in a past life, or I was this big spiritual leader in a past life, and there's remnants of it in my mind and why I want those things. But it's not meant for me because that would be ridiculous, because I'm just some basic teacher, in Australia. I'm like, okay, it's like there is nothing about me that's special. So I didn't think that was ever even a possibility for my lifetime. Like people that have become authors and spiritual leaders are like massively famous and huge and I don't know. I just felt that was so not me. But if I could have it, I would have loved to do that. Like that. Even at uni, when I was still so young, I wanted to study the mind and I wanted to write a book about the mind. And it's funny that I knew the whole time. I knew my whole life. I just didn't believe that it was real for this lifetime. And then when I finally realized that I could do this, and I took tiny little baby steps with the content creation and the writing, the spirituality side, the community building, and it just felt like finally I was coming home to a place I'd never been before. It was the coolest feeling. Like I'd never felt that before in my life. I'd never felt like the thing that I was doing and the person I actually was were the same thing. And I know that sounds so weird, but like it felt like my avatar finally came into its body for the first time. And I want that for you. Not my version of it, yours, because nobody else's map is going to work for your character. Like your character is so unique. And here's what I also know is that we hold ourselves back, because I did this too. We have these dreams on our hearts, and instead of running toward them, we stand in front of them going, but what will people think? This was me. But oh my gosh, what will people think if I do that? What if I fail so badly and I post these things and I get no followers and it's so bad? And what if I'm not as good as I think I am and people are talking about me behind my back? Or what if people think I'm like this fraud lady that's talking about spirituality to like make money? Or what if they think there's a million things that you can go through about what other people are going to think of you, especially when you're shifting your identity and shifting from a person, like, because we define ourselves as who we are based on our careers and what we do. And when you start to shift and change that, it does change a lot about your whole being, which is hard. But here's the thing about those people whose opinions we're so afraid of, is that they are just mirrors. They are just a mirror of what you're going through internally. So every single person who, whether they've actually said something or you just think they're saying something, who has triggered that fear in you, the judgment, the who does she think she is, that will never work for her, or they are showing you exactly what you still need to heal within yourself. They are not obstacles. They are information. All those people, all those things are beautiful. Invite them in, really go into it and peel back all those layers, shine a light on all those triggers, because when you shine a light on those triggers, that is removing the things that are covering your lighthouse. Because what you need to remember is the fact that you will never know what someone's truly thinking about you. It is impossible. Even the love of your life that you know tells you the truth all the time. You will never actually know the extent of what they think of you, ever. Because even if they tell you exactly what they are thinking, how do you know for a fact that's exactly what they were thinking? How often have you told someone something about what you were thinking about, but you said you were actually thinking something different? Not whether that's a lie, but you're obviously protecting people's feelings. Secondly, you in yourself, we have like a gazillion thoughts a day. We can't actually process what we're thinking. And often we're barely even thinking about other people. We're thinking about ourselves and how we want to be perceived through them. It's a very complicated thing. And so you'll never know, even if people tell you, even if you get all the external validation in the world, even if you get all the negative validation in the world that you should be doing something else, you never know what they really could be thinking. Because someone could be telling you not to do something, but on the inside they're like, she should do it, but I don't want her to do it because of me. And they might not even consciously think that. They might just not want you to grow so that they stay within your circle and do what you want them to do. So complicated. So you need to trust yourself. You need to trust who you are and what you want to do, because you'll never know if someone likes what you do or not. You'll never know if they're judging you or not, truly. So you may as well do what you want anyway. Okay, so this is the part of the conversation I find the most satisfying, and it is probably also the most confronting part of it, because I wanted to ask you something. Who are you? And this relates to this idea of the secret of the law of attraction, because if you don't know who you are, how can you shine your light? How do you know what that light is? And I don't mean what you do for work, as I've said before. I don't mean what your hobbies are or what your relationships are or what you wear or how you spend your weekends. I mean underneath all of that, all of those things, who are you? Who would you be if you stripped every single identity marker away? Most people find that question almost impossible to answer. I definitely find that question almost impossible to answer most of the time, because we are so fused with the things that we do and the roles that we play that we've forgotten that there's a self underneath all of it. And here's the thing. Those identity markers always change. Your job changes, your relationships change, your hobbies change, your body changes. So who you are at a soul level has nothing to do with what you actually physically do. So who are you underneath all of that? Because none of that stuff is consistent. All of that stuff changes. So that stuff isn't who you are. It's what you do. So who are you? And who you are at a soul level doesn't change. That was the same when you were 5 years old as it is right now. And I think that is the real work of this lifetime. I truly believe it is like that's the point of the game, is figuring out who that actually is, like the real version of you, and playing the game without caring about anything other than doing whatever you want to play in this game. And I want to talk about something that genuinely changed my life in this area, because I think our consciousness, the universe, whatever you want to call it, because we are the universe, so we have created with this pace of modern life and with how fast everything's constantly moving and how much noise there is, I find that we need sometimes tools to help us remember who we are. And I believe that is exactly what astrology, human design, and numerology are. There's so many other ones out there. And I, for so long, didn't understand or want to believe in it because I was like, well, we are just the universe experiencing ourselves. We are the universe. Why would we need all these other things to tell us who we are when we know who we are? But I've spent my whole life so confused about who I really am. And as soon as I started to dive into these type of modalities, it gave me permission to see myself. And it's like my consciousness created this tool for me to be able to better understand outside of all the other things. And then when you see it the way that it is, you start to develop that relationship with yourself on a deeper level that you never have before. I'll explain it really briefly in my experience how this helped me. And it's because like I am actually 2 fire signs, even though my actual sun sign is a Gemini, which is an air sign, I actually have a Aries moon and a Sagittarius rising, which are both fire signs. And that made so much sense to me when I first found that out, because for the longest time, I thought there was something so wrong with how intensely I feel things and how fiery I am and how quickly I move through things, how my energy comes in these massive waves. And when I get hooked on something, I'm like, literally fireball. Like I make things happen so fast. And I'm also a manifesting generator in human design, which is exactly what they do. But on the outside, I was like, my identity and who I felt like I had to be was this shy, precious person that did the right thing all the time. And like my Gemini side of me is very like playful and talkative and communicates really well and has like a mind that works like a million miles a minute. But I just felt like I didn't identify with any of that because I was forcing myself to be someone I wasn't because I was so scared to show up as my true self so that I wasn't going to be judged. So I never fully identified with my astrology in the first place because I was so far from my light. So if you are someone who's seen your astrology and don't fully identify, actually dive into your moon sign and your rising sign and then go, okay, well, when I see the big picture and when you start to see what houses are aligned with all of that as well, then you start to be like, oh, it makes a lot of sense. And then when you start to live a little bit more in alignment with what it says you should be doing, then finally it all clicks and you're like, oh my God, I have been this beautiful, whatever it is, my whole life. I have just been forcing myself to be someone else to keep myself safe. Like, how wild is that? And what's funny is like, this is my experience because in my astrology, it's got a very clear people pleasing trait. Like my Gemini is in Venus and it's in retrograde, which means that I need external validation to feel this sense of worth, right? But the trick is that I actually need to learn that in this lesson. And when you look at your south node and your north node in astrology talks about your past lives and your north node talks about what you need to do in this life. And for me, my south node is all about doing things alone. And so my past lives were all about this fact that my soul was trying to do everything on its own. It was like a soul lone wolf kind of thing, very independent. And then in this life, my north node is all pointing me towards community. It's in the house of gathering people and relationships and partnerships. And that's why I have such a tendency to not want to, like, I get so shy around other people because it's like, oh, my past self wants to be on my own, but my future self wants to be able to be with others. And when I am with others, when I'm teaching, when I'm actually in the presence of other people, I light up in a way that I never do, but I hate doing it. But then when I do it, I love it, which is so confusing to me. But what changed the most for me was finding out that I'm a life path 33. And I feel like even now, I get so embarrassed talking about all of this stuff because I feel like people are going to judge me, which is so wild. Why do we do this? But my life path for me, finding out I was a life path 33, which is the highest life path, not that it's any better than any other life path. None of them are better or worse. They're all just different. But this is the master teacher. And it makes so sense me going into teaching and then obviously going into this role doing content creation and being a spiritual teacher in this sense. That's literally what I was meant to do. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm here to teach, but Master 33 means that you are here to be so authentically yourself and so in alignment with who you actually are that people around you are called into their own by literally just being near you. Like, I am the curriculum. I'm not teaching a curriculum. I am the curriculum. And the teaching happens through my being, not through the instructing of what I have learnt. And so if you're also a life path 33, I like to see it like that. Like, you are the curriculum. That's what the master teacher means. Like, you are so your job here and the reason you chose this lifetime was to become the teacher yourself. You don't have to teach anyone. They will magnetize towards you and learn from you just by you being yourself. And that gave me the biggest permission slip. When I saw that I was a Life Path 33 when creating this content, I was like, that means I'm just meant to do this. And it gave me so much belief. And then I followed my gut, and my gut instincts were like, and my intuition finally became clear for the first time instead of being so foggy, because I started to actually believe what was true for me. And even if that number meant nothing, even if you're really skeptical about it, it gave me permission. And that's the point. I do think that all of these modalities that are around, whether that's whatever it is that you follow and you find you're passionate about, whether that is astrology, human design, or numerology, they all give you this sense of permission. And then when you actually someone gives you that permission to say, hey, you should do that. Has anyone ever done that in your life where you wanted to do something but you weren't sure, and then you say, here, I'm giving you permission, you should do it. And then you're like, oh my God, that's such a relief. Now I can just do it. And that's when you know that you're meant to be doing that, because it finally feels like relief that you're allowed to do it. But you were always allowed to do it. You were just forcing yourself not to because you were scared. And so let's just bring this whole episode together, because I want to leave you today with something that actually lands and something that you can take away with you. It can be a lot, and I feel like I've jumped from thing to thing to thing. I feel like I'm going to get better at this as I go, but it's very confusing, this whole podcasting thing, because I just feel like I can talk and talk and talk, and I just go on tangents. But the law of attraction is not a technique. That's what I want to remind you. It is not a strategy. It is not something that you do. It is something that you are. You are already magnetic. You are already broadcasting a frequency. You are already a lighthouse with ships finding their way to you. The secret was never learning how to attract better. The secret is learning who you actually are so deeply, so honestly, so undefended, that the blocks start dissolving on their own, so that the layers come off naturally, so that your lighthouse can shine at its full capacity, and everything that is meant for you can finally find it in all areas of your life, not just your career, not just your relationship. It's being able to say, like, I am this. My mission, we all have like a little mini mission, and it's got nothing to do with your career. It's just a feeling that lights you up. And you see different people. Think about all of the friends and family you have. They are all so unique, and they all have such a special gift and a light that exudes from them. And you see them when they are shining their brightest, and you can feel it, and then you can see when they're blocking it, and you can be like, oh, that's not them. Like they need to believe in themselves, or I wish they would just follow this path and go for it, because there's so many of my friends that I'm like, the dream job that they have, or the thing that they're working on behind the scenes, I'm like, they will be amazing at that. Like they genuinely would be amazing at it, and you can see it, but they can't see it because they are letting all of these blocks get in their way. And that's what I really believe we all are missing with the law of attraction, is that we're trying to find what's going to be good for us, instead of, you don't need to find anything. You just need to find yourself. Nobody else is you. And I genuinely mean that in the most literal, energetic, quantum sense. There has never been another frequency like yours. There will never be another one. And that is not a small thing. That is everything. And that is your power. The key to the game of life is not figuring out the rules. It is not figuring out anything. It is figuring out who you are and then playing from that place. That's the whole game, and you're already in it. If this episode cracks something open for you, please share, do all the things that you're meant to do to get the word out, because this is obviously my dream and my passion, and my mission in life is talking about this stuff. And I would love to share it with as many people as possible. You can also go over to my Instagram to check in my link in bio all the beautiful things that I offer as well, in alignment with these themes. And next week, we are going to be getting into another brand new topic as well. And I'm so excited to dive in. So send this to the person who needs to hear that they are already a lighthouse and that they always have been. And I'll see you next week, my loves.